In ancient times, Demise, the Demon King, used a deadly sword, which he used to mercilessly cut through the armies of the goddess Hylia, all until the Demon King himself was defeated. Much like the goddess blade, which housed the spirit Phi, the blade of Demise likewise had its own spirit, who took shape as the vicious and flamboyant swordsman Ghirahim. The demon lord Ghirahim has both a high level of skill with his own blade, as well as the ability to summon in lesser demons to attack for him. When first picking up Ghirahim, he can seem somewhat of an oddball, with attacks and mechanics which look ineffective at first. But once you learn the intricacies of his fighting style, he will become the master duelist in your arsenal, as well as a whole lot more. Ghirahim's standard attack stream, despite seeming that it contains a lot more, really only consists of 5 attacks. Ghirahim swings to the right, summons in 5 knives which he throws in a horizontal line, throws 5 more knives in an arcing shape, teleports right and left while doing more slashes, and then finally does several slashes forward with a mini dark bomb at the end. The way that Ghirahim incorporates throwing his knives as well as the teleportation may initially feel very wild and out of control, but in practice this is an excellent attack string that covers both close and mid-range without Ghirahim having to move forward all that much. Overall, this set is pretty good. It's very controllable, and while the slashes could stand to have a little bit more range, the 2 knife throws mostly make up for that. While right here is where I would usually move on to Ghirahim's heavy attack mechanics, the Demon Lord here is yet another character whose special ability allows him to activate alternate versions of combos, and so I feel it's better to cover Ghirahim's combos first. Oh, and I guess I should mention that given how flashy Ghirahim is, he will generally do some kind of useless pose after each combo, unless you start your next attack or dodge. Anyways, his first combo can actually be elongated into 3 different attacks. Ghirahim will first do a sword slash that knocks his opponents into the air, then does a series of piercing attacks if you continue hitting the button, and then finally he will freeze enemies in front of him in a magical circle before levitating them up onto an invisible ceiling above them. For this combo, the first 2 parts are really great. The third part is extremely slow, meaning that if you are surrounded by anything dangerous, it's better to just quit out of the animation after the first 2 hits unless you are totally safe. If you are, then you should feel happy to continue to punish your chosen target. Ghirahim's second combo has him summon a barrier around himself which explodes, from which you can elongate it to have Ghirahim summon in a circle of knives, which all fly towards the center while he teleports away, before having Ghirahim finally reappear in his Demise sword form and do a stab from the air to finish everything off. This combo is okay, it's very punishing, but it is also very short-ranged. It will get a lot better later on, but for right now, we'll just move on. Ghirahim's third combo has him throw out a quick saw-like beam from his sword, which goes a very long distance forward. From here, you can elongate the combo to add in a quick summoning of swords from the ground all around in front of you, as well as a final bit where Ghirahim snaps and dances for a moment while summoning in 6 demons, which run forward, slashing their swords. You can turn Ghirahim during this bit to aim the demons in different directions, but to be honest, this last part is so long and overall pretty weak that I recommend skipping past it almost every time. However, the first 2 parts of this combo are excellent, and are actually your go-to when trying to break down boss weak points. Ghirahim's final combo has him create a rectangular flooring which he rises up upon, before slamming it back down in a large dark explosion. This is Ghirahim's simplest and best area clearing move, and while it doesn't have the same range as some of the better area attacks in the game, it is still pretty good. As is, this current moveset would already make Ghirahim at least a mid-tier fighter. He's got a little bit of everything, and while he can be a bit technical by you having to make sure you're not pointlessly elongating out some of his overly showy combos, he does have good damage, and being a single target focused dark character, whose element already gives him additional damage for consecutive attacks on the same target, makes it a perfect match. But then again, we haven't gone over his heavy attack mechanics, which is able to single-handedly turn him from being somewhere in the middle of the pack to arguably being one of the top 3 or top 5 warriors in the game. So, Ghirahim's heavy attack has him throw out a single knife, which when it hits an enemy, will draw a line from Ghirahim to them. This connection, which lasts for about 10 seconds, has a variety of effects. First of all, Ghirahim's damage versus that target is boosted tremendously, which is made even better by the fact that the line itself makes it easy to always know where they are. Also, hitting heavy attack again while you have the line up will cause Ghirahim to throw out more knives which will home in on your target, causing decent damage. damage. However, much like when using the bow upgrade, this attack can be dodge spammed to create a constant loop of damage, which can kill enemy generals pretty much on its own. But wait, there is more. While in this state, Ghirahim's first, second, and third combos are all given additional effects in certain parts of the combo. In the first combo, when you use the upward slash with the line up, no matter where you are, a giant sword will appear from right under your target's feet, which will not only cause great damage, but also throw them towards you for some additional punishing. Alternatively, you can just place your focus elsewhere while throwing out a lot of these underfoot swords, which will leave your target basically unable to do anything while just taking constant heavy damage. Ghirahim's second combo, which would originally stun close by enemies, will now stun your target no matter how close they are to you. However, if you continue to extend it up until the second part, a small circle of lights will appear around your enemy, stunning them for an even longer period of time. This stun boost can be helpful for either defense or offense, as it allows you to keep a stronger enemy off of you while attacking nearby guards, or you can just use it to stun them in order to prepare for an attack from behind. Lastly, in Ghirahim's third combo, where he would normally summon Ed Spikes from the floor, will now, much like the first combo's boosted form, summon another giant blade underneath your target's feet. However, this one is even bigger and even more powerful. While these boosted forms of combos are great, particularly the first and the second one, because the additional damage that Ghirahim gets on his target will pretty much make you crush them no matter what you're doing. While seeing a grouping of generals or officers can be very intimidating for other heroes to run up against, knowing that you're going to have to slowly whittle their health bars away with time, Ghirahim absolutely shines in this kind of situation. With him, it is quite easy to simply target each one of them with your damage boost and obliterate them in seconds before moving on to the next one. The additional damage given through Ghirahim's Dark Element buff makes all of this even more egregious. In the end, it's actually a pretty lucky thing that there is no kind of player versus player match in Hyrule Warriors, because as is, Ghirahim is completely overpowered as hell when it comes to murdering other players. Once he has his sights set on a target, there is literally nowhere that they can run. Even though he is just a sword spirit in service of a greater master, it's actually a bit questionable who should be the Demon King and who should be the Demon Lord after this. Ghirahim, much like Linkle's crossbows or Ganondorf's trident, is one of those rare movesets which basically has no weaknesses. While within the overpowered set I don't consider him to be absolutely number one, he is nevertheless an extremely powerful and frightening character. This is exactly how you do a master swordsman. Sword person. Yeah.